Hello, everybody. November 6th, 2025. Welcome back to another episode where I'm going to talk about my October 2025 net worth. I'm going to give you an update as of my age, 32 years old, and I'm an entrepreneur. As you probably know, I have a bookkeeping business that I started 5 years ago, and now I have an investment fund, Zip Capital, where I do real estate private money lending. So, right now, if you're a bookkeeper or an accountant like me, right now, we are in month end close, first week of November. So I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm pretty stressed out. I'm overworked and a little bit frazzled. So I've kind of been switching up these videos a little bit just to kind of talk about more of the stuff that I really like. So on Tuesday, I talked about my investment strategy. Yesterday, I talked about how much money I made last month. And in this video, I'm going to give you an update on my net worth. So if you like this video, thanks so much. If you don't like this video, I'm not surprised because this stuff is probably pretty boring for everybody else. But honestly, I love talking about this stuff. And I'm kind of making this as more so just like something for me to look back on. I'm kind of documenting my journey. So I started tracking my net worth in April of 2024, about 18 months ago. And I have this crazy spreadsheet that I'm about to share with you. And I'm just going to go through my numbers real quick. I'm going to try to keep it as simple and somewhat interesting as possible. But I don't know. Hopefully, this is motivating and inspiring. For anybody else who has less than $1 million, then maybe this could be potentially motivating and inspiring. So let me just go ahead and let me share my screen. And I'm going to share with you the spreadsheet that I have. And if you're not doing this, oh my goodness, I strongly recommend that you track your net worth. I think it's just been really, really powerful for me to see my progress. Okay, so there's a lot of numbers here. So let me just try to make this a little bit easier for you to understand. So I'll show you the past 3 months. Okay, so up here, this is basically my balance sheet. So if you're a bookkeeper, you can probably appreciate this is just a balance sheet. Let me zoom in a little bit. Let's see if I can zoom in here, make these numbers just a tad bit bigger for you. Okay, there you go. So, real quick, let me just say I do post all of these videos on my podcast. So, if you're listening to my podcast, so sorry. Obviously, you can't see my screen. I also redistribute these videos the following day to my YouTube channel. And I think, unfortunately, whenever I do that, the screen share also does not show up. So if you really want to see the screen share, then try to find this live video. If you're not watching live now and you're watching the following day or listening on my podcast, then try to find the live video if you want to follow along on my screen. Okay, so let's just jump right into it. So this is my balance sheet. This is my personal balance sheet. I own 100% of all my companies. So I have my personal balance sheet, my personal retirement accounts, and my business numbers on here. So it's basically like my PFS, my personal financial statement. So if you don't have one of these, definitely recommend let this be your sign. You should get one. So I do it right around the 6th, 7th, maybe 8th of the month, every single month. So here I just did this morning, just updated November 6th. And if you're watching live, feel free to drop some questions in the chat. It can be about this or it can be about starting a bookkeeping business. I will be going live for 30 minutes. So once I get done talking about this for about 5 or 10 minutes, then I will jump to the chat and I will answer your questions about starting a bookkeeping business. Okay, so let's talk about it. So I've got my assets on top and my liabilities down below. So my net worth is not my total assets. That's not your net worth. You need to subtract your liabilities. So if your house is worth $600,000, but you have a mortgage for $500,000, that's not an addition of $600,000 to your net worth. That's only an addition of 100,000. 600,000 asset minus 500,000 liability. So net worth, assets minus liabilities. So here, up top here, I just have all of my bank accounts and money market accounts. So that is about $1 million. And I run Zip Capital, an investment fund. So I am pretty cash heavy at all times because of my real estate private money lending. So I've got about $1 million cash. And you can see here this Vanguard, this Vanguard money market account. Really cool here, $500,000. And I'm earning 4% in my Vanguard money market account. So I really like that. It's super liquid. I can take a wire out. I can send a wire in, probably process in 1 to 2 days. Super liquid, but 4%, that's a really great return. And then in my Zip Capital bank account, 480. Orrstown bookkeeping account, Harrisburg bookkeeping account, 70. And then my personal account, I always keep between 10 and 20,000 in my personal account. Now let's go to the retirement accounts. Let's see here, retirement accounts. So I have 8 different retirement accounts, 2 with Vanguard, 2 with Ascensius, which holds my solo 401k, 2 with Fidelity, 1 with the TSP when I was in the military, and 1 with Conrad Siegel. These are all pretty much just old 401ks and IRAs. And I have $464,000 in my retirement accounts. These are all 401k, IRA, tax accounts, and I can't pull this out until I retire. So this is money. This is long-term investment. It's all in mutual funds that track the S&P 500. I'm not touching this for a long time. So that's pretty boring, pretty standard. When I was just getting started, this would have been my whole balance sheet, just all of my retirement accounts and maybe a couple loans. I didn't really have too many assets, but I started doing this in April of 2024. Honestly, like right whenever my private money lending kind of took off, because I wanted to keep track big picture total, because I had Harrisburg bookkeeping and I had the real estate loans. So things were getting more complicated. So I wanted to track total personal financial statement, total net worth, total personal balance sheet. So I started doing it. Okay, so those are my retirement accounts. Now let's get into some more interesting things. So I still have 2 real estate loans held by Harrisburg bookkeeping. So I've got $90,000 worth of real estate loans, and these are assets because these are loans receivable, not loans payable. These are real estate loans receivable, all secured with a first lien mortgage. So $90,000 of real estate loans still held in Harrisburg bookkeeping, and then $4 million of real estate loans held in Zip Capital. And then I just go to Zillow. I just use the Zestimate on a monthly basis. I know it's not perfect, but my personal house currently on Zillow, Zestimate $663,000, and my rental property, $318,000. Now this here, this $681,000, this is a construction loan holdback. So real estate, private money lending in Zip Capital. I might lend somebody $150,000, but the purchase price is only $100,000. So I'm only going to give them $100,000 at purchase, but the promissory note says $150,000. So I hold that $50,000 in a construction loan holdback, sometimes called a rehab draw. So I'm holding the $50,000. I will give it to the borrower as they progress through the rehab or the renovation for their property. So currently on my balance sheet, I'm holding $681,000 in a construction loan holdback. This is money that I'm holding on to, but I have already committed it to borrowers. And so I will disperse or distribute these draws as my borrowers complete their rehab. So it's a liability for me. It's typically an asset. If you're a real estate investor on your balance sheet, a construction draw is typically an asset. But for me as the lender, it's the opposite. It's a liability. Zip Capital investor payable. So this is also a liability. This is money. This is basically a loan. This is money that investors have lent to Zip Capital. This is money that investors have invested into Zip Capital. So you can see here, I've had pretty solid growth. September, $970,000 of other people's money invested directly into Zip Capital, and then 1.3 million and then 2.1 million as of today. So really, really incredible growth. Real quick, I'll just mention, if you want to learn more about Zip Capital, there's a link down below. You can register on my website. And if you have $25,000 or more of cash sitting in a savings account or a bank CD or a money market account, consider investing in Zip Capital. I'm offering 8% up to 12% fixed annual returns. So if you want to invest in Zip Capital or just learn more or just talk to me about investing in Zip Capital, register on my website. The link is down below. I have 2 HELOCs on my rental property. They're both $44,000. So that's a liability. So that's a negative. And then I have my personal American Express credit card. It's just, I pay it off every month. I never pay interest on it. There's just always a $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 balance on the personal American Express credit card. And then okay, so here's where things get creative. Here's where things get interesting. So all of these liabilities here, these are all Liabilities, these are all loans that I have, or sometimes credit card loans that I have received from other people, from personal private people, and also corporations. So I got an American Express credit card and I had a $50,000 credit limit, 0% interest for 12 months. I maxed out that credit card and now I'm just leveraging that credit limit so that I have some extra cash to lend out. So in 12 months after my 0% interest introductory APR is up, then I will just simply pay off that $46,000. But right now, I'm sitting on the cash because it's 0% interest, so might as well. And then I took out an American Express business loan for $58,000, and I paid this off every single month. And this is it's debt arbitrage. So I am paying less on these loans than I am earning on my real estate private money lending. So I charge my borrowers 12% plus 3% origination fee in their short-term loans 6 months. So I'm getting at least 18% annual return on my loans, but it's usually more because of the origination fee or the underwriting fee and the processing fee. So any debt that I can get less than 18%, I can be profitable on. So this American Express business loan, American Express personal loan, these are both American Express loans that I'm paying interest on, but I'm happy to do that because I'm using the cash for real estate private money lending. And then these here, these are all private loans that people have lent outside of Zip Capital. These people, we just simply did a promissory note between Harrisburg Bookkeeping, my company, and them. Most notably, $600,000. There is an oil company out in the Midwest, and they found me on YouTube, and they've been following me for a long time. I think the controller of the company follows me on YouTube, and she learned about Zip Capital, learned about private money lending, and she wanted to invest in Zip Capital. Not everything lined up with Zip Capital, but they really wanted to still work with me. So they did a promissory note between their company and my company. They lent Harrisburg Bookkeeping $600,000, and they are earning 10% annual interest on that promissory note, and then another one, $205,000. So another person, an individual, not a company, an individual saw what I was doing, liked what I was doing, wanted to get involved, and decided to do a promissory note between themselves and Harrisburg Bookkeeping. So I have here, how much do I have? I have about $1 million in private loans, mostly made up of these two, $600,000 and $205,000. These are all just promissory notes between other people and Harrisburg Bookkeeping, and I'm just using their money for real estate private money lending. Okay, 4 more things. I have a line of credit, a very small $20,000 Wells Fargo line of credit, and then I have a mortgage on my personal property, $568,000, a mortgage on my rental property, $177,000, and an SBA loan, $131,000. These are all liabilities, all money that I owe. Okay, so we have up top, I went through all my assets, and then I went through all my liabilities. And now let's see the grand finale. So assets minus liabilities. We have here $1.6 million. So close to 1.7, but not quite there yet, 1.6. Now, most importantly, what I care about the most, I track the increase. So you can see here, September, there was a decrease because I paid my 2024 taxes. So I paid about $100,000 in 2024 taxes owed. So my net worth decreased by $50,000 from August to September because I lost $100,000 in taxes paid. But I made that back up. $75,000 increase from September to October, and then another $83,000 increase from October to November, a 30-day increase in my net worth of $83,000. And I have it here broken out. What is that comprised of? $991,000 of cash, or what I call current assets. So these are all of my liabilities. And then these are all my assets. So like my cash, my money market account, my real estate loans, because they're all short-term loans, my real estate loans, minus all of my loans payable, all of my SBA loan, my lines of credit, my credit cards, all of those loans, my people invested into Zip Capital. So this cash right here Kind of confusing, but it's all my real estate loans receivable, all of my cash, my money market accounts, minus all of my loans payable. So about nine. So if I were to take all of my cash and have all of my loans get all of my real estate loans come back to me, get paid off, and then if I were to take all my cash and pay off all of my debt, then I would be sitting with $991,000 in the bank account. So that's what I look for. And then so cash increased from October to November by $75,000. And then my retirement accounts increased by $10,000 month over month. And then my property equity actually decreased by $2,000. So my property equity is the value of my two properties minus my mortgages, and it actually decreased. It fluctuates every single month, but overall, I'm happy. Overall, I'm trending upwards, $83,000 month over month increase. Now, to put all of this into a visualization for you, I made a handy dandy chart, handy dandy graph. So you can see here, very simple. You probably can't see it because it's too small, but I'll tell you, down in the bottom left-hand corner, April 2024, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, all the way through October. Or are we missing one maybe? Maybe we can get November in there somewhere. Okay, November. No. Okay, that's okay. Not sure, but this is the chart. You can see here, this is the growth that I've had. So I started at about $600,000 in April of 2024 and ended with about $1.6 million in November. So this is very healthy, very steady upward growth. Not really exponential, but more so just linear, but really happy to see that. So that is the growth over the past 18 months. Okay, hopefully I didn't lose a ton of people. Hopefully you're not super bored by seeing that. Now let's. So I'm going to be going live for the next 10 minutes. So if you're still watching live and if you have any questions, yeah, let me know. Okay, Patricia, good morning. I need advice on how to get through QBA course. I don't know if it's too long or what it is, but it's dreadful to get through it. Any tips? I don't know if anyone else has a hard time going through it. So the QuickBooks course. So what I do to pass the test is I will open up an incognito window. And so I will have the QuickBooks study material on one screen, and then I'll open up an incognito window and log into QuickBooks, and I'll take the test on another screen. So that way you can go through the study material and take the test at the same time. That's how I passed in the first place. That's how I renew my membership every June. Yeah. But other than that, there's really no secret shortcut. The questions are really tricky. The questions are very specific. You can't use ChatGPT. You can't look them up. You can't use Quizlet to get through the test. It is a very difficult test. Any tips on how to use QBO's match feature? Bookkeeping 101, not sure what you mean. Do you mean in the bank feed? So if you manually create a transaction in QuickBooks and then it shows up in the bank feed, you will absolutely want to make sure you match that QuickBooks Online bank feed transaction to the manual transaction that you created. So that there's a difference between add and match. If you see a match, you want to verify that it actually matches. But yeah, kind of a vague question, but hopefully that helps. Comment 5884. Can you explain why you use wires instead of ACH with your lending business that you referred to yesterday? Thanks. Enjoy the classes. So I'm funding real estate properties. I'm doing same day wires. Title companies do not accept ACH transfers because ACH transfers take 7 days to actually clear through the bank. So wires are same day. ACH, they will technically look like they clear in 24 hours, but there's always a possibility that they get returned for whatever reason, not non-sufficient funds or whatever reason. So title companies require wires instead of ACH transfers. Steel Sadler, with Zip making more than bookkeeping, how sustainable do you think that'll be going forward? If Zip continuously makes more per month, would you consider selling bookkeeping, invest it into Zip? No, I'm not going to sell Harrisburg bookkeeping. I'm going to keep it. It's my baby. It's what got me to this point. I don't know. It's kind of like, I don't really know how to describe it, but I'm not going to sell it because I could maybe sell it for $300,000, maybe $400,000 at absolute best. To me, it's not worth it. To me, I'd rather just keep it and run it for a couple years. It's kind of nice to keep it as a backup plan. And also, Logistically, if I were to sell the company, I would give up the website, the Google My Business profile, like the entire name, and I just don't want to give it up. I don't want to get rid of it. I kind of just want to keep it forever because in the grand scheme of things, 300, $400,000 to me is not worth it when I can just continue to run it and then just continue to grow Zip Capital. I'm just going to keep Harrisburg Bookkeeping. I'm not going to sell it, but absolutely, hopefully in the next 2 years, I don't want to be doing any bookkeeping in the next 2 years. I want to be focusing 100% of my time and efforts into Zip Capital. So in 2 years, stay tuned. In 2 years, hold me accountable. Hopefully, I'm not doing any Harrisburg bookkeeping. If I do anything, I might just sell off individual clients. If I do anything, that's probably what I would do. Mike Melee, do you think AI can hurt my chance of starting a bookkeeping business now or sustaining one in the future? So here's how I feel about this, Mike. And I saw that you asked this question in my Facebook group. And so I appreciate you asking this question now. And if anybody else wants to join the Facebook group, it's linked down below, totally free. You can join my Facebook group and ask questions in there. And then hopefully people will chime in and have a conversation. But Mike, I don't think you should let that stop you because look at me. I learned really incredible lessons and skills over the past 5 years, starting my bookkeeping business that positioned me and enabled me to start Zip Capital and to start real estate lending. And so I would absolutely, what would I say? I would absolutely start your bookkeeping business no matter what. Even if I knew for a fact that bookkeeping was going to be completely dead in 2 years, I would still start a bookkeeping business today because you're going to learn so much about business, investing, real estate, finances, accounting, marketing. Just start a bookkeeping business today. And worst case scenario, robots take over and it's totally, totally gone in 2 years and you can pivot and you can do something else. Do you use clearing accounts to help reconcile payment platform transactions? No, I do not do that. Payment platform transactions. So maybe you're referring to like Stripe or Square. I don't. If I do anything, I will just simply do a journal entry. So I will just count this question comes up all the time. This must be a really tough problem that people are having. So when it comes to Square and Stripe payments, I just take the bank transfer into the bank account, record that as income, and then I will do a journal entry at the end of the month to account for Square fees or Stripe fees. So I will debit Stripe fees, credit income for whatever the Stripe fees were that month to account for the difference in the bank deposit and the actual income earned. But I don't like using clearing accounts. I don't like using clearing accounts unless I absolutely have to. I just kind of feel like it makes things a little bit messier, a little bit more complicated. Joe Schramm, good morning, Zach. I used yesterday's video as a clip for social media marketing when you mentioned my David Goggins comment. So far, it's a hit. Thanks again for all your guidance. Hey, that's awesome. Congratulations, Joe. That's you just got to get creative when it comes to marketing. You just got to get creative and just do whatever you possibly can to just keep making content, keep putting yourself out there. Sarah Foster 3942, could you give advice on how to transition a potential client phone call into getting to the end of the call and telling them you will get a quote together? So, Sarah, ask questions. So we start the phone call with, hey, what's going on? Tell me a little bit about your business. They tell you for 5 minutes, they talk about their business. And then at that point, you start asking questions. How many bank accounts do you have? Are you currently using QuickBooks Online? Who was doing your bookkeeping before? Why are you switching to a new bookkeeper? How soon do you want me to get started? Okay, you want me to get started in November 2025. That's perfect. In order for me to get started, I'm just going to need one of these two things. I'm either going to need to be invited to your QuickBooks, or I'm going to need to see your 3 most recent bank statements and credit card statements. So that's the end goal of the sales call, to get to that point. No, I can't give you a quote. I'm so sorry. I can't tell you how much it's going to be because I need to see your QuickBooks account first. Or if you don't want to do that, I need to see your 3 most recent bank statements and credit card statements. Let me get your email address real quick on the phone. Let me get your email address and I will send you instructions on how to invite me to your QuickBooks. Next question, Coastal Pink. How do you feel having Fidelity for your retirement account? I hear a cross between Fidelity and Charles Schwab are the most popular companies to have accounts with. Any thoughts about Charles Schwab? I've never done business with Charles Schwab. I also am not a huge fan of Fidelity for no reason, literally no reason. I'm all in on Vanguard. Everything I do is through Vanguard. I think they're probably all perfectly fine companies. It's probably just personal preference, but and it also just depends on which platform you're most comfortable with. So I'm just most comfortable with Vanguard. I only have Fidelity because my 401k accounts when I worked at Chewy, they rolled over into Fidelity. So I for whatever reason, I think my 401k just ran through Fidelity when I worked at Chewy.com, the warehouse. And so that's the only reason I have those Fidelity accounts. Chill Davids 2037. How often do you adjust principal or depreciation when paying off loans or fixed assets? Every single month. I get monthly loan statements. I adjust the principal and interest every single month on loan statements. On fixed assets, I don't really touch depreciation. Typically, the tax accountant or the CPA handles that in their tax software. Nareem 3576, clients QBO shows negative assets and AR, disorganized chart of accounts, unreconciled accounts after September 30th. Would you treat cleanup from October 1st or start Jan 1st since earlier reconciled data looks unreliable? I never tell the client when I'm starting. I ask the client, when do you want me to get started? Do you want me to start in October? Then I'm not going to touch September. If you want me to start in October, I'm going to charge you an onboarding fee equal to 1 month of service, and then I'll charge you the fee for October and the fee for November. If you want me to get started back in January, I can. That's great. Totally happy to help, but I'm going to charge you full price from January through October. So it's up to you. I never tell clients when I'm going to start. I ask the client, when do you want me to get started? Because if I recommend that I start in September instead of January 1st, and if there's a mistake from January through August, I don't want to be responsible for not telling them that I should start in January. So they tell me when you want me to get started, and I will get started then, but I don't tell the client when I'm going to get started. Did you provide the promissory note to the individuals to sign? Did they provide a note as well? Yes, Coastal Pink. I did the promise for one person, gave me the promissory note because technically these people were the lender. So they could have made the promissory note if they wanted to, but one person did. One person said, hey, I'm going to make the promissory note. I'm going to send it to you and you can sign it. The other people, I made the promissory note and they signed it. That's just how they wanted to do it. And they were totally fine with it. Let's see. 2 more questions. Joe Schramm, I've got to use this method for myself. I've been entering personal finances in Excel for years, but to include net worth in there would be awesome to see. It is really cool to see. Even if it goes down or even if it doesn't grow a lot, it's still really cool to track because I feel like your income is kind of like, that's cool, I guess, to track. But what really matters is your net worth, is your PFS, your personal financial statement. That's what really matters on a month by month, year by year basis. Because I don't care if you made $500,000 last year. I don't care. But if your net worth went up by $500,000 from last year, that's really cool. That's way more important, in my opinion, than how much money you made. How do you get past the initial imposter syndrome when starting a business? I'm at the initial stage where I'm just learning and getting started, so the process feels overwhelming. Alan, just start small. Just start small. You're not going to get 20 clients right away. You're going to get 1, maybe 2 clients in the next 30 to 60 days, and just start small. I absolutely had there's no way to not have imposter syndrome. Everybody has imposter syndrome. Even if you've been a bookkeeper, a corporate bookkeeper for 20 years, you're still going to have imposter syndrome. There's just, even if, let me use this as an example. You've been going to the gym for 20 years, for 15 years, you've been working out, and all of a sudden you decide to go to a new gym. The very first time you step foot in that new gym, you're going to feel slightly uncomfortable. Even if you've been working out for 15 years, you're still going to feel slightly uncomfortable. It's the exact same concept. So you're starting something new. You just need to accept the fact that this feels uncomfortable. I'm a little bit scared. I don't know what I'm doing, and that's totally fine. Everybody feels that way. I felt the same way when I started Harrisburg Bookkeeping. I feel the same way when I started Zip Capital. Everybody feels that way. So you just have to just trust that you're going to do the right thing. So have integrity, be honest, try to do your best, try to do the right thing, and know that you're going to make mistakes. I promise you, I'm telling you right now, you're going to make mistakes. If your goal is to never make a mistake, the only way to accomplish that is to never do anything. If you try anything, you're going to make mistakes. So just understand and accept the fact that you're not perfect. You're going to make mistakes. And then when you do make a mistake, communicate clearly with your clients. Let them know what's going on. Let them know what you plan to do to fix it. And then here's the most important part: don't make the same mistake twice. As long as you don't make the same mistake twice, you're going to be fine. You're going to grow, you're going to learn, you're going to get better. Where would you look for new clients today if you were brand new in bookkeeping? Same place: Facebook, LinkedIn. Facebook, LinkedIn. I would I would create content every single day. Facebook story, LinkedIn post, videos, reels, short videos on LinkedIn, short videos on Facebook, and I would connect with prospective clients. I would find business owners local in my community on Facebook and LinkedIn, send friend requests, send connection requests on LinkedIn, and then I would engage with people like crazy. I would spend 30 minutes a day just commenting on everybody's post that I possibly could. Engage with people like crazy. Have you changed anything about your onboarding process? I feel like mine is all over the place. However, people don't seem up for paying much, or maybe I'm not doing something right. So the only thing that I've changed about my onboarding process is I've made it more simple and easier and more direct. So the sales call, that's where you get the quoting information. The sales call is where you get the next steps, bank statements or QuickBooks account. And if you can't get it right then and there, send them an email and then say, "Hey, would you mind checking your email? Just verify that you got my email," and request their bank statements. And then once you get that information, after that, send them a quote. They accept the quote, send them your client agreement, send them the invoice. And then as soon as they pay the invoice, you're golden. You have just onboarded your client. Also, how you ever done bookkeeping for nonprofit organizations? Sarah Foster, I do not do bookkeeping for nonprofits. That's the one thing I don't do. I will immediately send nonprofit bookkeeping clients to a referral partner. Do you think this bookkeeping business model could get oversaturated? Of course, I'm sure anything could get oversaturated, but you know what will not get oversaturated? High quality entrepreneurs, bookkeepers who communicate effectively and do a good job. There are way too many bookkeepers right now, but there are not enough good bookkeepers. If you can be a good bookkeeper, if you can do what you say you're going to do, communicate effectively, be honest, try hard, provide high quality customer service, you will go above and beyond and you will grow. I promise you. How do you respond or say that when a client says you are home office? Seems like it is not formal or real for the client. So how do you deal with this? That's honestly never come up. That's never come up. I don't think. I think you're. I don't know. If somebody said that to you, I would probably just say, "I'm sorry." Like I run a virtual bookkeeping business. I have a home office. Yeah, I don't even know what I would say to that because that has never come up for me. I just need a computer and a desk to run my bookkeeping business. So I do not need to have a brick and mortar office. So if anybody said that, so here's how I handle objections. Ask questions. If somebody seriously were to say that to me, if somebody were to say, "Wow, why don't you have a home office? That seems pretty unprofessional." Or "Why don't you have like a real office? That seems unprofessional." I would probably counter that statement with, "Well, like why do you want me to have an office? Like what about an office would make my bookkeeping business more appealing to you?" Just turn it back on them and see what they say. And then as the conversation goes, you kind of have to adapt and come up with the responses to their questions. But if somebody gives me an objection, I'm probably going to try to respond with a question. Are there good templates for engagement letters and service agreements out there? So, Ryan, yes, I have my client agreement is available for download. Um, is available for download in the description of this video. So I have a website, harrisburgbookkeeping.com/store. You can download my actual client agreement. So yeah, check it out. Download my client agreement and yeah, let me know what you think about it. So with that, I'm going to officially end the video here. I'm going to go live again tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on my percent fixed returns to accredited investors. There's a link down below. You can register on my website. I'll talk to you about Zip Capital and possibly investing. Thank you all so much for your support. Seriously, really appreciate it. I'm going to go live again tomorrow. I'll